Jews in Egypt have a long and complex history, dating back thousands of years. Jews have lived in Egypt since ancient times and have played an important role in the country's history throughout the ages. Jews have been present in Egypt since the Pharaonic period. Some ancient texts indicate the presence of Jewish communities in Egypt since the 6th century BC. The story of the prophet Moses and the exodus of the children of Israel from Egypt is considered one of the most prominent religious stories that connect Jews to Egypt. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, the Jewish community in Egypt witnessed a period of cultural and economic prosperity, and important Jewish figures emerged in the fields of trade, industry, and art. Throughout history, Egyptian Jewish figures have contributed significantly to various cultural, social, and political fields in Egypt. The most prominent of these figures are Yaqub Sanua. He was a writer, journalist, and playwright, considered one of the pioneers of satirical journalism in Egypt, and founded the newspaper Abu Nazrat Zaka. Joseph Cohen. He was a doctor and founder of many medical institutions in Cairo. Moshe Button. He was the head of the Jewish community in Alexandria and a prominent figure in the Egyptian Jewish community. Henry Curiel was a political activist and founder of the Egyptian peace movement. He also played a major role in supporting national liberation movements in Africa and the Middle East. Rene Carden was a prominent lawyer and human rights activist who defended rights and human rights. Lucette Laniado was a writer and journalist who was famous for writing memoirs that dealt with the history of her Jewish family in Egypt. Youssef Darwish was a lawyer and political activist who participated in the founding of the Egyptian Communist Party. Leila Suleiman Stein was a social activist and advocate for women's rights. She worked in journalism and media. David Harari was a prominent physician in the field of internal medicine who made significant contributions to the development of healthcare in Egypt. Maurice Cohen was a well-known lawyer and one of the leaders of the Jewish community in Cairo. Jewish artists also played a prominent role in the history of arts in Egypt, especially in the fields of cinema and music. Some of the Jewish artists who left a clear mark on Egyptian art are Leila Murad. She declared her conversion to Islam in 1946 after her marriage to the artist Anwar Wagdi for several years, and was pursued by the accusation of collaborating with the Zionist entity after the 1948 war. But she denied this. Rumor, which was promoted by her ex-husband at that time, Anwar Wagdi, and donated to the Egyptian army after his return from the Palestine War, and died in 1995. And she is the mother of the late artist Zaki Fatin Abdel Wahab. Najwa Salem. She is Nazira Salem, born to a Lebanese father and a Spanish mother, and declared her conversion to Islam in 1960 after her marriage to the great critic Abdel Fattah el-Baroudi, and was among the ranks of actors who participated in their theatrical performances and collected donations to arm the Egyptian army. Naima Ibrahim, a famous Egyptian actress, famous for her evil roles in Egyptian cinema. She was one of the most prominent cinema stars in the 40s and 50s. Rachel Ibrahim, or Rakia Ibrahim, one of the most famous Jewish actresses, left Egypt in 1956 for the United States of America. Israel chose her as a goodwill ambassador. Togo Mizrahi is one of the pillars of Egyptian cinema. He is an Egyptian of Italian origin, born in Alexandria. Mizrahi produced and directed a number of important films. And he also established the first syndicate for filmmakers in Egypt with director Ahmed Badr Khan. Camelia was born in Alexandria to Christian parents, but her Jewish stepfather adopted her and she took his name and religion to become Lillian Levy Cohen. Participated in a number of films including Kamar 14, Akka Ketber, Al Millionaire, Baba Aris, and Camelia passed away after being involved in a plane crash. And it was said at the time that the accident was planned as she was cooperating with the Israeli Mossad, which is what took her life. Munir Murad. He is one of the greatest Egyptian composers, and his melodies still live in the hearts of Egyptians with the same splendor until now, as he composed a number of the most famous songs, and his real name is Maurice Zaki Murad, and he is the brother of the artist Layla Murad, and he converted to Islam in 1966 to marry the artist Sohair Bablai, and he died in 1981. Salama Elias, a comedian famous for his light-hearted performance, as he participated with the late artist Fouad El Mohandes in a number of films. Elias refused to leave Egypt after the 1967 war and presented a large number of films and plays after that, and died in Cairo in 1994 at the age of 83. Shalom. He is an Egyptian comedian, and Shalom was the first actor to star in films bearing his name. And Shalom refused to immigrate to Israel and traveled to Rome and died there in 1948. These figures contributed to enriching the cultural, social and political life in Egypt in the 20th century,